All right, some of the sounds last night from Chris Brown on the Buffalo Bills Radio Network. Sal Capaccio with you on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on a Buffalo Football Friday here at Studio Capaccio today. Glad you could join me. Got in last night, walked in the door, I believe, at 5 a.m. Went on with the guys and at a couple hours later and tried to digest everything as quickly as possible from last night. Wrote Arrow Up, Arrow Down. You can find that at WGR550.com. And now it's time for a bit of a reset in a couple of ways. After that game and getting 10 days before the next one when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. And also here on the program going to hour number 2. So let's tell you, here on a Buffalo Football Friday, it is brought to you by Celino Law. Car crash, call Celino, call the 8s, and by Crosby's Pizza and Subs, Crosby's Hometown Fuel, game day ready since 1922. Good first hour. You can watch us on the stream on YouTube at WGR550. Thank you very much for everybody who's come in today. Had some fun interaction during the break with a lot of you, but back I go. Back to the phone lines we go. Back talking with you. Paul Hamilton will join me here in this hour at the bottom of the hour. And tonight, the Sabres are at home to take on the Chicago Blackhawks. And that will be a 7 p.m. puck drop with pregame at 6 here on WGR. Connor Bedard coming to town. We'll talk with Paul at the bottom of the hour, and also ask him just going to do a little, comparison between the hockey team and the football team and how Terry Pegula has treated things over the years, since a lot of you are asking that. Let's go to Don in Southern California, who's up next. Hi, Don.
Good morning, Sal.
Good morning.
Hey, you and I are the same age, so we've been through the ups and downs of these Bills for quite some time. Hey,
Yeah.
Question for you. So, what's the communication between Joe Brady and Josh Allen on the side? Never see a headset. He says what's going on. What did those two talk when the defense is on the field?
Yeah, I think I have seen them. You're right. I don't see a headset on them necessarily, but I think a lot of times the communication is really from Josh to Ronald Curry, his quarterback's coach, who's in constant communication with Joe Brady, and Josh with his backup quarterbacks. They're all kind of listening in a little bit. He has the ability to talk to him, and I think he does once in a while, but it's really more Josh, I think, talking with Ronald Curry, his quarterback's coach, and other staff members, while Joe Brady is, formulating what's going on for the next drive.
I'm getting to the point where we need to go K-gun, let Josh just run the offense and get us to where we need to be.
Yeah, Don, it's funny. I had somebody say this to me the other day, too, and I actually like the up-tempo. I do think that part of it would benefit the Bills. I thought they should have done that a little bit more last night. But let's just remember here, and I know it's easy to say, put Josh back there, he's a better play caller, let's say, than Joe Brady. It might seem like that. He's not the one game planning. He's not the one that is seeing the still pictures, what they're doing. He can identify stuff at the line of scrimmage, but to actually do that and to go into a series, you have to really understand what's going on. And I'm not here to tell you it could never happen and work, right, Don? I am saying, though, I think there's way more that goes into it to think that it's that simple to be able to do. Do you know what I mean?
I got you. One last thing, Sal.
Yeah.
Next week is a must-win. We got a tiebreaker loss now against the Texans. They're in the hunt. The Steelers will be the next one on potentially. We need this game next week, or else we're in trouble for the playoffs.
Yeah, you got.
That's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, you have 2 straight AFC North teams, and then an AFC East, and then another AFC North. You have your next 4 games, like the 5 in a row, counting last night, are AFC games. And if you're gonna be in this wild card position, you better win these games for tiebreaker purposes. You're right about that, Don. Thank you for the phone call. We'll go to Nate, who's in St. Louis. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Sal, I got a question for you. Moving forward for next year, I hear a lot of other hosts talking about that, that they're not going to make any changes up top. So, what are we going to do in the offseason? How are we going to retool? What changes are they to make? But it's just going back to the 2020 season of, after that AFC Championship game loss, it's always been, what are we going to do in the offseason? What are we going to do next year? And I just oppose to you, what do you think do they need to change in that front office and the coaches-wise, or if they're even capable to change, that we're going to see a different result?
Well, I don't know the result yet, Nate. Here's the problem with this conversation. It's not you. It's the whole thing that surrounds it. we everybody wants to get to January and make changes. How about let's get to January? We don't know that they're going to miss the playoffs or get to the AFC Championship and lose or get to a Super Bowl and win, which is still possible. We don't know. I can't answer that until we know what happens there, right? If they miss the playoffs, sure, I'm all for it. Make a lot of changes because obviously the direction of the organization might need to change. I don't know, but I just think it's so much jumping the gun and putting the cart before the horse. Yeah, you can watch this team now and go, well, they ain't making it. They got to make changes. We're not there yet. There's 31 other teams going through the same process right now as the Bills, 31 others. And really far less than that who know they're going to be probably in the playoffs but have no idea, right? I don't know. I can't answer, and none of us can. And can we let the season at least try to play out? I know it doesn't seem great right now. It's 7-4, which is weird to say, right? 7-4. A lot of teams would love to be that. They're 7-4. They're in a playoff spot right now. I don't know. They could get to the playoffs and play Indy and Denver and match up well and go on a run. I don't know. It's unlikely. Not telling you it's likely. Why is everybody so quick to make changes in February when it's November? Because you have you have an idea of what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen. And that's always the issue that bothers me about this conversation. What are they going to do about next year? Well, when next year happens, wait till next year. What are they going to do in January? Wait till it happens. I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. Yeah, you can look at salary cap and all these decisions have to be made. Well, guess what? Between now and next year in March for salary cap, even more things will happen that you have to start deciding what is best or not best for the roster. You can't make decisions about March right now. You can't make decisions about February right now or January. If you want to make a change now, you can do it. If Terry Pegula wanted to fire the head coach or the GM now, he could do it. If the head coach wanted to fire the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, he could do it. You could do those things. But we're talking about at the end of the season changes. Then let's wait till the end of the season. Let's go to Nikki in Connecticut. Hi, Nikki.
Hey, guys. Hey, Sal. Thank you for taking my call, man. I need this therapy. So
you got it, buddy.
Say, this season is weird, right? And it's one of those weird seasons because it's not just last night's game. I mean, take the play call timer. It's also the Miami game and a few other things. And the way J17 has just been playing, it almost seems like he's back to his old ways of being too in his head. And I just go back to the fact that every year before this year, right, we've been so close. And whether it's because of a defensive coordinator or because of this or XYZ or, 13, 14 seconds, whatever the case may be, this is why it's so important to make it happen when you can, because you never know when you're going to get the year that you're getting this year. And you never know when that regression is going to happen. But at the end of the day, regression comes down to one person, or maybe two in this case, which is the head coach and the GM. And I think it's time to say, as much as I love McDermott, and I truly do, and I'm grateful for what he's done for the organization, I think it's time to say you're not the one that's going to get us over the hump. It's not you. And we need to figure that out, because right now what we're doing is we're wasting Josh Allen's years, and it's bothering me.
I'll go back to what the previous caller said and ask you a question. Do you think they should do that today? And if you did, would it change anything about this season? Seriously, you know what I mean? GM and head coach.
Truth. The person that I think they should get rid of, especially after what Josh got caught on camera saying last night, it's maybe not the GM or the head coach, but it's definitely the offensive coordinator.
Okay, but that's not the question I asked, because you said, hold on. But I'm trying to work through that. This is the broader issue and the broader point I'm making. You said you think that it might be time to move on, which is fine, totally fine. What I'm asking you, Nikki, is and what I just made a point about the previous caller is, okay, that's fine, but can we at least let the season play out and then you make that decision, because you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't.
True.
And you're right. I mean, you could get into the playoffs, you could match up with Indy and Denver and go on a run, and oh my God, Josh Allen MVP, and everything's a lot different. So when people say that to me, I always think okay, do you think that now, or do you think that at the end of the season, ... if things don't happen differently? You know what I mean?
No, fine, fair, and that's perfectly fair. And I'm going to answer your question then directly. Yes. My answer is yes, I do. I felt it since last year. I felt this at the beginning of the year.
That they should do it today, right now.
That they should do it today, honestly.
And do you think if they fired the general manager and or the head coach
I'm more
today.
The head coach. Yeah, I'm more the
Okay,
head
let's say they fire the head coach today. I don't know who are you bringing in today to be the head coach that would actually do it. Don't say Brian Dable. He's getting paid by the Giants to be the head coach. I don't think he's coming here to do that. Okay, it had to be somebody on
exactly
staff.
What I was gonna say.
Yeah, but I mean that's just that.
The only reason I say
Nikki,
that is because he's the only one that's brought his best years.
Okay, but
he's brought his best years to life.
But Nikki, I mean, I can't speak for Brian Dable. It just seems like a very, 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 very minute chance that would happen in the middle of a season. He's sitting at home waiting for his next move. I guess it could happen, but you'd probably have to go with someone on staff. You know how this works. You fire a coach in the season. Someone becomes the interim coach is what happens with the staff that they're working with. And then does that person get the different result that what you're hoping for? And I just think that that's so foolhardy now to think that would happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? You know what I mean, buddy?
Absolutely.
Now, if Brian Dable woke up today, Nikki, and went to your house and said, I would take the job, that's a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just, in a nutshell, though, it just comes down to just, Josh Allen's getting older, and we've been fortunate to not, thankfully, not get him hurt. Even though, if you ask me, I do think he's playing hurt this year. We just don't know the whole story. But it's a waste.
I get it.
A waste.
I understand, Nikki. I got to get some more calls. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate your call, and I understand your sentiment. I think that's where I land. When people call up, when people do on social, fire the coach, fire the GM. You can do that now. Do you think, and maybe you do, maybe you out there think that would change the trajectory of this season? They're not going to go out and get a GM from outside the building to bring in right now to change this roster. You're past the trade deadline. All of the staff that's been doing all the work on the draft is here. That's this staff. You're going to have to elevate an interim head coach. Again, I don't know. If you want to talk about the Brian Dable equation, we could do that, but I just think it's a non-starter at this point, for something like that. But would it change? Maybe it would. Maybe people feel like, no, Sal, that would be a different voice and different direction. And, hey, I mean, we saw it in hockey. We see it sometimes, right? Long season. Blues went and won a cup when they did that. I think a couple teams have done that in the past as well. Man, in football, it's different. At this time of year, do something like that. I guess it could happen. I just don't think it changes now. You have to wait till the end of the year, and then all those concerns and questions and calls could be very valid. AJ in Hamburg. Hi, AJ.
Hey, Sal. Thanks for taking my call. First time calling into your show.
Okay.
I just have a few points I wanted to bring up about the offense and then maybe pose a question after. But, I mean, my main frustration, last night, that you could point to a lot of things, but it's that 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. It seemed like we were in that situation a lot of times. And you look at a team like Philadelphia or, and in a situation like that, Nick Sirianni says, you know what, we're gonna sneak it twice. You got to stop us. What are we doing? We're getting too cute, as the coach wants to say. We're running it up the gut with James Cook, so Josh Allen has to take 4 steps back, so James Cook can have to run 6 yards to get 1. And it's just incredibly frustrating when you see in the beginning of the game, we run that sneak and we get it with ease. Josh makes a terrific play. It's like, put the ball in his hands. That's what you need to do in those situations. And time again, we're straying away from it. And it's because that Kansas City playoff game, it broke Joe Brady. He thinks that we can't do it. It's like, just do it and force your will on this team. And then, on top of that, just with Joe Brady, everyone wanted to point the finger at Diggs. Oh, he's washed. He's this, he's that, because of that second half fall off. Well, look at where we're at now and look at what Diggs has done. I mean, he went to Houston, he balled out, then he tore his ACL. Now he's playing very well coming off a torn ACL for the New England Patriots. And meanwhile, we're here saying everybody eats and trying to, make this offense work with no number one target, because that's Joe Brady's philosophy and how he thinks it'll work. And it's panned out horribly. At this point, I think, like, if there isn't some systemic change going on, at the end of the season, I know what you've been saying to these other callers. I'm just saying that, I just think nothing's going to change. And one last point, I mean, this D-line, we have invested 5 years. We put in premier assets, premier money into this D-line, and it's amounted to nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. I mean, it's just so incredibly frustrating. And I want to hear your thoughts. And I mean, what are your thoughts on, the Diggs and Brady situation? Because I just think that, Brady, I think now it's proven that, we were wrong with, I think Diggs said, choose me or Brady or McDermott are gone. And
But we don't know that. No, we don't know that. I don't have any reason to believe that at all. I just think that the relationship wore itself out between the two sides. I would say this, AJ. I don't know if it's Stephon Diggs. I think they miss a guy like that, though. And I think, though, his personality was weighing on the organization. That's what I would say. I think on everybody, on Sean McDermott, on Joe Brady, on Josh Allen. Like, that's my read of it and how things ended here. I don't think it's choose me or him. I don't even know if he wanted to be here anymore. I have every reason to believe he didn't want to be here anymore. I mean, seemed like the year before that he was trying to get out and he didn't. So I don't want to go that far. But I do agree, AJ, that it feels like they need a guy like that. And their approach since then has been, we're not going to have a guy like that. But now you kind of need one, right? I think that's where you're going with this. And you don't have that critical guy to make that play. And this number one guy who, you know, can win in all situations. So I don't disagree with that part of it. So but yeah. So anyway, so I agree with that part of it. I also think it's him specifically. But yeah, a guy like that could really help this offense. By the way, I mean, Tyrell Shavers has this great game on Sunday last week. And then this week, I mean, he's hardly heard of. I went and did the snap counts, and he wasn't on the field that much. He was on the field for 39% of the snaps, 26 snaps. He 1, 2, 3. He was the fifth. He was the fifth wide receiver on the field. Tyrell Shavers. I don't know if he would have helped. Maybe not the way that the pass rush was and what they needed personnel wise, but it just felt like, you know, that could have been a guy that could have helped you after what you saw last week. I'm not really sure. And that's another issue where you say, that's Joe Brady who makes those calls, and him and Adam Henry, their wide receivers coach, going through the process of the week and who's on the field and what situations. Let's go to Jim in North Tonawanda. Hi, Jim.
Hey, how you doing, Sal? Long time no talk. Listen, I don't want to waste any time. I'm going to get straight to the point. The first thing that needs to be done before close of business today, Brandon Beane has got to take a look at these healthy players. There's 31 other teams in the National Football League with practice teams or practice squads, whatever they're calling them now. And get some healthy players in here. Figure out who's banged up, who needs to go on injured reserve. And you automatically upgrade your team by bringing in healthy bodies. And the second thing that he should do before close of business today, get a list of the top 5 defensive all-star players from the United Football League. Bring them in tomorrow morning for a tryout. The Bills got everything to gain and nothing to lose by doing it my way. It's just try. All I'm saying is give it a try. And if these 5 guys from the United Football League don't pan out, cut them. Get rid of them. But give them a tryout. Let's do something. Shake the system up a little bit. Think outside the box.
Okay. I'm going to totally disagree with you on that would actually help. But, hey, I guess anything is possible. Yeah, every team does have a practice squad. You know who else has a practice squad, Jim? The Buffalo Bills. And they have healthy bodies they can bring up. And those guys are more valuable to this organization than some guy that doesn't know the system. And by the way, anytime you bring a practice squad guy onto the team, whether it's your own or someone else, it actually does cost on the salary cap to start paying them. And you're going to have to do it either way, you know, whether it's somebody else. They do every day go through the injury list. They do every day think about who needs to go on IR. They just put a guy on IR yesterday before the game, Mecole Hardman. So, you know, I mean, sure. UFL, XFL, European High School League. I don't know. Is that what you want, Jim? I mean, maybe you think it'll help, I guess. Mike in Rochester. Hi, Mike.
Dale, how you doing? I'm trying not to let my emotions get the best of me today and teetering between this play it out the season versus burn it all down. But here's where I'm at right now, and listening to everybody talk, I kind of share in all of it. But I guess I have a question regarding the blitzing last night. I feel like, and this might just be a subjective opinion, but I feel like McDermott's always done really well with whether it be rookie quarterbacks or backup quarterbacks and just making them not feel comfortable. And watching Davis Mills early on, it seemed like he couldn't really get anything going. And what I don't understand is why did he just rely on the inconsistent pressure of our front four instead of bringing more blitzing to try to rattle him? Right? That to me it doesn't make sense. And then when we needed to get a stop later on in the game and we did blitz, it worked out perfectly and we got the ball back and we were able to kind of have a chance there at the end. That's number one. Number two, with respect to the offensive line struggles last night, what's happened to bringing in guys like Alec Anderson? I remember being at the playoff games at home, and it's like number 70 is reporting as eligible, and we're always bringing in another guy to help Chip and to just give that extra protection to Josh. It just seemed like everybody at home, everybody knew that Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins were getting beat except for them. And so I guess I just don't understand why we're not making those in-game adjustments when everybody can see it. And obviously Houston saw it too. That's why they kept doing it. So that's kind of those are
okay. Well, I'll answer that question for you. Because when Alec Anderson would come into the game last year, they weren't protecting Josh. Yeah, they might have a play action here or there, but it was to run the ball. He was a 6 offensive lineman run, and what they're doing this year is using Jackson Hawes in that role because he's an excellent blocker, as good as any backup lineman, I guess, at least close to it, and he can go out for a pass. I have no problem with that. I think it's actually a good strategy because you can actually show that you're going to run with 6 linemen because Jackson Hawes can be like a lineman, and then he goes out and catches a pass maybe. I'm all for trying anything different, but it wasn't like Alec Anderson was in for pass protection all the time. They would bring him in to run the ball. Now, I do agree with your other point, though, Mike, which is I would have liked to see a little more blitzing early on, too. But, Davis Mills was very off early on. He was like 1 of 8 or 1 of 9 to start the game. It's like, hey, we don't need to blitz this guy. He's just going to be off. Once he started connecting, I think he did hit on like 11 of his next whatever passes, 15 or something. And, maybe they should have started to dial it up a little bit more. I would have liked to have seen that. I agree. I would have liked to have seen a little more blitzing a little bit early, but I don't really have a problem with how they're not using Alec Anderson this year because it's really just the same. They're using Jackson Hawes, and they're running the ball well. I mean, that Alec Anderson came in to help run the ball last year, not to really be a protector. What's he going to do? Is he going to sit on the outside of Deion Dawkins and be an edge guy? I don't think so. That's not really what his role is or what his job is. But they didn't protect well last night. So, hey, maybe your idea or any idea could work and help out because they did not protect last night. It was a very bad night for the offensive line last night. Not a good night for the Buffalo Bills. They lose 23-19 to the Houston Texans. They now go to 7-4 on the season. We'll take a timeout here. Paul Hamilton on the way. Gonna ask him a little bit about how Terry Pegula treats the Sabres versus the Bills. Get his thoughts on that. Take a look ahead to tonight's game against the Chicago Blackhawks. Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks in town to take on the Sabres. Tough couple of nights for a Buffalo sports fan. Sabres lose to the worst team in the NHL, the Calgary Flames, who come to town and beat them 6-2 on their own ice. And then the Bills go down to Houston and get beaten up physically and beaten on the scoreboard 23-19 to the Houston Texans. We'll do all of that with Paul when we return here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on WGR.